Vamos, crowd brothers, this is your boy JT, and welcome back to another episode of South Stand Signings. And it is another day, another morning in which Leeds United have still not solved our striking issues. But luckily, by the grace of God, we have just thrown our hat back in the mix for the big man, Dries Mertens, the man to solve all of Leeds' striking deficiencies. And in this video, we're going to break down exactly why. It is going to be a little bit of a different style of the video today, so if you do enjoy it, then hit that like down below. And if you do want to stay up to date with all future content, then make sure to subscribe and tick that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. But let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into the meat of the action. So first of all, you're probably sat there somewhere thinking, James, I swear we were linked with Dries Mertens a few months ago. What has happened since then? There hasn't been any talk about Dries Mertens. Well, nothing had really happened because we were really going in for Charles de Ketelaere. However, Victor Orta has now turned his attention away from that. We were talking about Calimundo yesterday. Could he be the man Leeds search for instead? Well, no, it might just be this man, Dries Mertens, and Victor Orta gets very ambitious as Leeds join Newcastle in monitoring Dries Mertens amidst Napoli's contract wrangle. That is right, they did actually offer him a new deal recently, but it was only worth £2.1 million per year with his wages, and he turned it down. He did turn it down, so it does look like he could be available on a free. Newcastle and Leeds are closely monitoring the situation under the current two front runners to sign the Belgian. Now, first of all, the first problem I see you coming at me with is that he is £2.1 million per year. If that's not enough money for him, are we going to be able to afford his wages? And the argument I would say to that is Rodrigo is on very high wages. Furthermore, Dries Mertens could be a free transfer. Therefore, we could use the money that we'd probably spend on another striker and reinvest it into his wages. That's the first problem dealt with. Now, why is Dries Mertens the perfect fit? There's a lot of arguments against it. First of all, his age. Second of all, the potential money we'll be spending on his wages. Third of all, the fact that he could be a bit of a cash sink in a couple of years because we won't get a lot of sell-on value for him. Again, tied into the age scenario. So, a lot of cons off the bat. But this ain't no setup renovation, so we don't care about the cons. We're going straight into the pros. Now, first of all, Leeds United are in need of a second striker. That is right, we're not in need of a main centre-forward because we will have Joe Gelhardt and Patrick Bamford to occupy that position next season. I don't see them playing together. This is why I feel we are looking so desperately for another striker, because we're looking for someone that can play that second striker role, similar to what Rodrigo has been playing. And that second striker role just so happens to be the position in which Dries Mertens played the majority of his games last season, featuring 12 times in the league in that position, scoring 5 goals in the process in only 632 minutes. Pretty decent output if you do ask me. Equating to a goal just over every 126 minutes. Not too shabby, Alonso, especially for a guy a lot of people are saying is done out here. And to further back up the point as to why I think we need a second striker, let's look at the Brighton game from last season. I know this isn't a 100% telltale sign because Jesse Marsch hadn't completely got his system together, but as you can see here, Gelhardt is the furthest player forward from our average positions here. Rodrigo sat just behind him, and Rafinha, of course, in line with Joe Gelhardt. Now, I think this will differ slightly, and if we do look at the Blackpool game, for example, again, similar, but in fact, I saw Rodrigo sat a little bit deeper. We don't actually have the heat maps for that game, but Rodrigo was sat quite a bit deeper, and Gelhardt was the one roaming forward. Now, if we do switch over here to our little positional map here, let me just bring these back to the starting positions. And this is the formation everybody expects us to line up with next season. We're talking the 4-2-2-2. Obviously, that can change into a bit of a 4-2-3-1 if we do bring someone in here. Exactly why I think we need Dries Mertens. Now, from what I saw in the Blackpool game, you had Joe Gelhardt occupying this position quite a lot, and Rodrigo basically slipping back into this number 10 role here, where there is a lot of space for him. But that doesn't really answer the question. Why is Dries Mertens Mertens the perfect player in that second striker role. Now look, Joe Gelhardt for me, as we saw in the Blackpool game, he likes to press forward. He likes to sit on the last man, on the shoulder of the last man to make the runs in behind. We were seeing defenders being sucked forward, and Joe Gelhardt many times making that run beneath the last man, opening up space, pinning these defenders back. What we did see from last season as well is that whilst Joe Gelhardt is very adept on the ball, he's got a bit of a clunky touch. Does have a bit of a clunky touch at times. At times it's hard for him to hold up the ball at times, and what we need with this second striker here is someone who is very sharp on the ball. They've got great intricate link-up play, great one-touch passing, and that's what we did see against Blackpool with Rodrigo at times. He was getting the ball here and he was spraying off the 1-2s very well. And a lot of people do think Joffy can fulfill that role, but for me, like I said, his touch is a little bit too clunky and it does let him down at times. Now, as for how we're going to actually feature with the rest of the team, I saw Leeds Lobby do a great video on it recently, analysing the double pivot. If you do want to go into further detail, then check out that video. But basically, in vague terms, the way we've been playing, especially against Blackpool, is we like to press the wing backs up very high. And with the two DMs, what it allows us to do is shift one player across, bring another man back here, most likely Tyler Adams, because I think he will be the slightly deeper of the two from what I saw, which is why I do disagree with him. What he said with the double pivot is that they'll take turns to cut back. I think we'll see something slightly more similar to Bielsa, where it's Tyler Adams kind of occupying this role, slipping back either time, and then Mark Roker will sit just ahead here, because what I did see against Blackpool is that Mark Roker was like the metronome. He was picking up the ball here. He was just sitting in this pocket the whole time, spraying ball after ball after ball after ball. And if you have Tyler Adams sat a little bit deeper here, kind of bringing back that old three at the back that we had under Bielsa, you got the wing backs running forward here. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. You've got the 9 and the 8 here. Most likely Brendan Aronson and Jack Harrison, okay? Now, the interesting thing here, they're going to be slightly deeper because you've got the wing-backs pushing forward so much. You're going to be dragging the winger out of position here. Both sides are going to be dragging the winger out. This opens a lot of space for this man here. Now, most likely what you're going to see, sometimes the fullbacks can panic. The fullbacks will get dragged in here. You get someone on Joe Gelhardt. Now, this is where Dries Mertens has so much to his game, because not only can he play in that second striker role behind the striker, he can also play in the wing position. The guy is featured 187 times in the left wing position in his career, getting 70 goals and 64 assists in the process. The guy's very adept at playing on the wing. Now, why this makes this very interesting for Leeds is because if you have Joe Gelhardt pinning the centre-back here, you have someone like, let's say for argument's sake, a Brendan Aronson. I know you may expect Sinisterra to play there, but let's say Brendan Aronson plays on the left-hand side, for example. He's very adept at coming inside here. So you'll have him dragging the fullback into the position here. Dries Mertens is able to lay the ball off to him, play the 1-2, swoop in with the overlap, which he is very adept to do, pick up the ball here, and then you've suddenly got a situation where Dries Mertens is running in here, offering an opportunity for the cutback for either a Bamford or a Joe Gelhardt. And this is something that we actually lacked a lot last season, even under Bielsa. I know a lot of people were talking about the fact that we were so good at passing the ball into the net, but if you actually look at the statistics, Leeds United relied very heavily on goals from outside the box. The 4th most goals from outside the box last season, and the season before that, the most goals from outside of the box. So while it may have looked on the surface like we were playing some tiki-taka football, we were actually quite bad at finishing from a lot of these situations here. Dries Mertens, what he also does add, which you know you won't really necessarily see with a lot of these other players, is proven experience and composure. When he does get into this position here, he knows exactly what to do. He's played at the top level for years upon years upon years. He's got the composure to deal with it here, and I just think he offers us so much versatility. I think the big man, little man combination, if you are having Patrick Bamford starting up here with Dries Mertens next to him, I just think it works so well. I think he offers us so many options in terms of linking up the play. He can go wide. You can bring a Brendan Aronson in the middle here so he can sit in the pocket ready to launch off the long shots. You could have Brendan Aronson still out there, you get the ball back to this position here. Let's say Joe Gelhardt gives the ball back to him here. All of a sudden, he can bring in here, suck the defender out, play the ball straight out to Brendan Aronson. Aronson's down here. All of a sudden, Aronson's now given the option for Bamford to run here. Drags the defender across. Bang! Dries Mertens is sat there at the back sticks. I think you need someone in this position here who's very good at intricate link-up play. And whilst I think Joe Gelhardt could be good at that, Joe Gelhardt's quite clunky. You're looking at Charles de Ketelaere, who Leeds have also been linked with. Again, quite clunky in this scenario here. Kalimuendo, slightly better in that position. You know, he's able to link up the play. He's quite dynamic. However, he isn't quite Dries Mertens. He doesn't have that playmaking ability of Dries Mertens that he could offer in this position here. And for me, think Dries Mertens could be a beautiful fit for this Jesse Marsch system. But let me know what you guys think about that down in the comment section down below. Do you rate Dries Mertens? Do you think there's any point of us going in for him? Do you think the cons that I listed at the beginning of this video are too much to probably get away from that? Looking at that system and the way that I said we're going to play, do you think there's any other strikers that we could get in there? Like I said, because I think we are heavily looking for that second striker role, I think someone like Charles de Ketelaere probably isn't as well versed for it. I think Charles de Ketelaere is probably better as the front man, you know, because his touch can be a little bit clunky. It can let him down at times from the little evidence that I have seen from him, or rather the little content I've seen from him. Kalimuendo, I'd really like to get him. I think he could offer a lot spreading out to the wide, like I said, but I just think Dries Mertens fits the system better. But before we do end off the video, let's get into some of the other stories that Leeds United have been linked with, some of the other players Leeds United have been linked with. Another striker that Leeds are still hot on the radar for is that man, Ben Brereton Diaz. Another old school name, another old school target that has gone a little bit under the radar and a little bit quiet recently. However, according to reports, Leeds United scouts have been watching Blackburn Rovers striker Ben Brereton Diaz in recent days as the club weighs up a potential transfer. Now, Ben Brereton Diaz also able to fulfill in that attacking midfield role. Again, could be a bit of a Dries Mertens type player, although again, doesn't possess that same level of quality, doesn't possess that same intricacies and dynamism within his play, but could be a very good fit. Leeds United feel that Ben Brereton Diaz fits the bill. Earlier this month, it was claimed that he was valued at £13 million. The report adds a number of Premier League and Spanish La Liga sides weighing up a move for him. It's an interesting shout. It is an interesting shout. What do you guys think about this one, though? Do you think he fulfills that second striker role? Do you think that he has the dynamism and intricacies in his build-up play to be a threat for Leeds United going forward? I don't think so. I think that he's, again, a guy who you'd probably want as your main striker. And for me, the only two players that I think could fulfill that second striker role very well are, well, that we've been linked with at least, are Dries Mertens and Kalimuendo. And speaking of Kalimuendo, Leeds United are still close to signing him. Apparently, again, Paris Saint-Germain have been reaffirming that €25 million price that they are looking for. Leeds still £4 million off it. Are we going to go in for Kalimuendo? Are we going to go in for Ben Brereton Diaz? Are we waiting to see what happens, where the penny drops with that Dries Mertens signature? For me, I know I've been very hot on Kalimuendo recently. I know I have, and that's just because the Dries Mertens things have gone quiet. I was hearing that they were going to offer him a new contract, and it kind of pulled me out of it. And I know a lot of you guys say you don't want him for the cons I listed earlier. I'd really like him. I would really like him. And for me, I know he's probably not the best long-term option, but what he offers us in the short term, especially with the amount of other young signings that we have made, I think it is definitely worth a punt. I think we need some experience in there, and I think he would fit the system perfectly down to a T. But if a young man is more your style, then maybe at just 20 years of age, Kalimuendo is the man for you. He's already proven he can do it at the top tier of French football over at Lens. Can he do it in the top tier of English football? And again, could he fulfill that role? I think he is very good at potentially swapping over to the wing. If we do go back in here, as we were talking about Dries Mertens, the thing that that slightly differs for him is that maybe he's not so good in the tight areas as Dries Mertens, but what he is good at, he's probably got a little bit more pace to him, so he is able to again switch over with the attacking midfielder on this side, make the overlapping runs. He can do it on the other side as well. He's very adept at playing both left and right wing. Again, if you've got a Jack Harrison or a Sinistera in this position, he's going to play as an inverted forward, make the run inside, play the 1-2, make the overlaps. He's very good at that. He can offer us that to his play. And this is something that we did see quite a bit with Leeds United against Blackburn. We saw a lot of dynamism moving in between from Rodrigo. He was constantly either out on the wing here or sitting in the pocket, overlapping with the midfielder here. And that is something that I think we can expect with Jesse Marsch's system going forward, which is why I think those two are a lot better of a shout than Charles de Ketelaere, even though everybody wanted him. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Which striker do you think we will go for? Which striker do you want at Leeds United? And do you think Dries Mertens is even within the realm of possibilities? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. But for now, I will see you very, very soon. Au revoir, my brothers and my sisters.